What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today I did want to talk about something here on the Crew Motorfest that, you know what, I feel like a lot of people are probably going to go through the overall Season 7 content overview thing, and I have a feeling they're most likely going to look at this and go, what? So I was scrolling through this going, okay, so yeah, we have the new playlist, the new racing experiences and all that. It's going to show something about the new playlist having 7 events and all that stuff, and then going over like the new content of the new challenges and stuff like that, which I was like, all right, that's pretty dope. But one thing I noticed though, when it started talking about the second playlist, I went, wait a second, wait. I probably had to read this like 3 times to make sure I was reading it right, guys. I'm going to show this on the screen though. It is going to say playlist features 13 main events. Mind you, this is the second playlist coming 2 months after, if you are wondering, but it's going to say for the first time in the Crew Motorfest, we are releasing an event each week. Through the weeks, discover the beauty of European vehicles. So, yeah, I was looking at this going, wait, we're releasing an event each week, so you're telling me right now that technically we're going to get a new race every single week in that playlist for 12 weeks or 13 weeks or whatever. Technically, it's like 12 weeks after first week starts when it comes out, then 12 weeks. But you're telling me we're basically getting drip-fed races in a brand new playlist, man? I was very confused on this. Luckily, though, it does seem they're going to be following the entire drip-fed event type of thing, where the challenges are going to follow it. There's going to be 41 challenges, 13 feats, 13 photo ops to complete across the islands. It is then going to say, like the playlist events, these will also be released week after week. So they're basically going to be feeding you crumbs in a way of those set events that you will end up being able to do. And honestly, guys, I just feel like this is such a weird way to release a brand new piece of content into the game when there isn't all that much to do right at the moment. Is the fact that they seem to be drip feeding an entire playlist. I would say people might not really mind this too much, guys, but I gotta admit though, this playlist is coming 2 months later. The first one we currently have in the game right now is going to be 7 events, right? This new one is going to be 13 events. Now, a lot of people might be like, well, maybe this is a good way that they can, stretch out the playlist more and stuff. But the thing I'm looking at it as is, well, is that kind of a way they're doing it to maybe look like the game's getting fresh new content every single week? So the way they did end up doing it is basically like kind of ripping apart the entire playlist and going, okay, so you get this race and you're going to get that one. And what's funny though is I am going to come in and say this right now. People are not going to be happy about this, guys. I'm going to say it right now. We can come back to this video most likely a few months later because, August is when the new playlist comes out. But if you're going to do one new event there and go, that was cool. Anyway, you got to wait a week for the next one, then another week for the next one. It's like, I just don't understand, especially for an event that's probably going to take anywhere from 2 to 4 minutes, if that, once that's done. Then what are you going to do after that? I do know they're going to then drip feed you a couple of challenges that you can do. And I just really don't understand what the point of a lot of these things are. A lot of players are looking for more content. That is obviously one of the biggest issues in TCM, I would say, is players want more stuff to do. And now they're going to be drip feeding one of the only main new pieces of content in the game. I don't really understand it, man. On top of all of that, though, there's also another thing they did end up changing about this, which I would say is probably going to be good in a way, because now you're not going to be forced to drive your vehicle, which is the no vehicle constraint. At least you can now finally drive your own vehicles that you earned or bought throughout the entire game. It is not going to force you to use some of those vehicles. But then again, though, when it forces you to use some of them, at least you're going to be using some oddball cars that you would most likely never touch. I'm probably going to guess and say most players would go through the events even faster because they are most likely going to be using the faster meta cars. So, yeah, that's going to shorten up the time a bit. On top of it, guys, the other thing is going to be the reward. You guys know how the playlist normally gives you like a car in game that's going to be a special edition of an existing car in the game. Well, for this playlist, I'm curious to know your thoughts on top of the entire drip feeding thing, but with this one, now they are going to be giving you $1 million when you end up completing the playlist. So this one is not going to have a vehicle. Instead, it's going to give you $1 million. I'm really curious to know your thoughts on this. Is it a good idea? I would admit right now that maybe giving us an addition of a car might have been a better idea than $1 million, because the thing is, you're only going to be able to get that once, which I understand. At least it will give players an incentive to do it. But the issue is, though, that $1 million they're giving you in the playlist, you can't get for 13 weeks, bruh. So, yeah, that's kind of cool. It's going to have a $1 million reward in the playlist, but, How do you get it? Well, you can get it, but you gotta wait 13 weeks. You all probably see where I'm coming from with this though, but I do think once more people probably look into this and they probably go through like the content overview, and I think this video will probably shed some light on that, they're probably going to be like, well, wait a minute, this new second playlist is going to be drip fed events every single week. Like, honestly, guys, I gotta admit, there's gotta be better ways to do things on this game. Like, I honestly do not understand the decisions. I want TCM to do great, but when I see things like this, I'm like, are they really trying to make TCM better, or are they just kind of like putting things in there going, okay, well, if we have every new race come out like every week, then that'll probably look like a fresh new way to have content, even though they basically cut the races out and then are pretty much giving them to you as like crumbs every single week. Like, I don't think that's a good way to do it. I really thought GTA was kind of bad before, and I'm not saying the previous update, that one wasn't that bad. But with previous updates, though, they kind of drip fed you cars and stuff. But the fact that they're now going to be drip feeding you different races, I do know they drip fed like a business in GTA, but I never really thought something like that would hit Motorfest, man. Like, it's shocking to me. Like, I don't understand why we can't get all the events into one. I really don't get that. Instead of doing that, that's probably also going to be a way to go, okay, well, this is going to be 12 weeks of races you will get. Then we're also going to have the next season after that, which is also kind of wild. I mean, how about we just get more races every single week, like mini playlists? That way it'll keep players engaged more and also make things a lot more entertaining. It really doesn't make a lot of sense, though, because if they are going to be drip feeding events, I think the custom mode is probably going to be, what, 12 weeks later, because that unlocks once everything is done, I think. Is that how that works? Either way, though, once the custom mode is available, you can then pretty much jump in and do all the same events you just did the last previous 12 weeks, and you're going to be able to go through them again. So technically, you're replaying all the previous events you just did, but you are going to have to wait unless it comes out instantly. Honestly, I haven't been paying that much attention. But either way, guys, this is definitely not a good way to be doing this. I'm interested to know your thoughts. I'm not going to be rambling on about it because honestly, I could probably talk about this for a minute because I really do want TCM to be great, but some of the decisions, or I guess you could say a lot of them, especially in Season 8, which I will touch on in a video tomorrow, really just, I don't understand what they are doing. But again, let me know your thoughts on the drip fed playlist in the comments below. On top of that, we're also then going to have the drip fed challenges that are going to release slowly with the events itself, which is definitely a different way to do it there. Probably not a good way to do it. You're also then not going to have to use a constrained vehicle in a playlist, which is probably something they should have did from the beginning. But I would say people can argue that at least you have to drive different cars instead of the meta ones. I do understand where people are coming from with that. And then finally, the reward that's going to be coming into the game is not going to be an existing edition of a different vehicle or even a new car in the playlist, which is honestly a huge L, because sometimes they do have newer cars in the playlist that you can get. For example, the GTO that we're getting in the current playlist, the 288 I think it is. Obviously, I've already forgot about that, which is wild. But you are going to get a new car. Sometimes it could be an existing one or like an addition like the older playlist. But we're also tending to get new cars in the playlist as well, like the motorcycle, for example, or the dirt bike with these skis on it. So the fact that we're not going to be getting a new car in the playlist is honestly a bit concerning, or even an existing one, but instead you are now getting yourself $1 million. Guys, do let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. I'm probably going to guess and say many people are most likely going to be very confused on the decisions being made in Motorfest.